All right, it's 6 o'clock. I am going to call the meeting to order. If you would please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Kylie.
Horn,
Yes.
Lehman,
Here.
Underwood,
Here.
Gilman is running behind, and Chasm.
Present. Okay. Next item is approval of the agenda. I do not see any blue sheets, so I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented. So move.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Underwood, supported by Commissioner Horn to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Agenda is approved. Conflict of interest. Do any members of the board have any conflict of interest regarding any items on the agenda? Hearing none. Next item, public comment. Do any members of the public wish to make public comment at this point? Okay, if you could please step up one by one. Kylie is going to read the rules, and then when she's done, if you could please state your name, and then you have 3 minutes. So let her recite the rules.
Any person may make an advanced appointment with the board regarding road commission topics for a regular or special meeting in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. If an appointment is made, the topic will be an agenda item. The following applies to public comments. Please state his or her name in township or district. Topic must be relevant to the road commission. Individuals are allowed to speak once for up to 3 minutes on a single topic, which may be extended by the chair. A group addressing the board requires a designated spokesperson who may speak up to 10 minutes as an appointment. The board will not act on any item from the public that is not on the agenda.
All right, thank you, Kylie. If you could please state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Hey, my name is Abigail Smith. I was here last month. It's great to see you again. Thank goodness that detour traffic is finally gone for the moment. Man, was that a headache? But as a resident of Green Lake Township, I'm right on County Road 633. I do want to recall one of the things I touched on last month that's still been an issue, and it's the commercial semi-traffic. I was looking over your weight restrictions throughout the county, and I did see that it looks like it's actively restricted from 37 to Miller Road, if I'm correctly speaking. And then the restriction picks up again at South Silver Lake Road and goes all the way to Barnes Road. But we've got a little bit of a gap from Miller Road to that light and wrong. And my goodness, that road is not built for that commercial semi-traffic, especially going through that light, and us residents right through that 35 section of Grand, that 35 mph section. Those semis are hauling, and I live 16 feet off the road. I measured with tape measure. We are really close, and we are not the only people that are that close. There are homes that are much closer to the road, and those semis, they just shake the absolute crap out of my house. And it's not once a day. It's not just once a week. It's so many times a day. I lose track, and I work a full-time 40-hour job. So I'm not home very much, but I'm home enough to notice that it is a huge problem. And I'm actually worrying for the structural foundation of my home and just alone the safety of the people that live on that road. So I'm just spitballing and putting that problem out to you. I'm hoping to call something to the agenda next month to hopefully produce a continuality of the weight restriction so it connects Miller Road to West Silver Lake Road, because with that M37 and US 31, there's really no rhyme or reason for the semis to be on that road, especially when they have no business being on it. I physically followed a semi. They went from Chums into Grand, turned left on County Road 633, and took it all the way to 37, completely ignoring the weight restriction, and got on South 37 like no one's business. I just wanted to open up that problem to you, see if you had any solutions, but I do believe the one tried and true solution that I hope to bring to the next agenda is implementing a weight restriction to bring it all as me.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Amy White, and I'm a Grand Traverse or Traverse City resident. And I'm here on behalf of the Grand Traverse Safe Street Alliance Group. which is GTSFA. We left some cards over here as well with our website, so you can check it out. We're an alliance of 9 different organizations in the region that represent hundreds of families that live in this region. Groups like the Cart Trails, the Cherry Capital Cycling Group, the Track Club, Disability Network, the Citizens Climate Agreement or Group, and others. So we represent a lot of diverse stakeholders. And our mission is to start a dialogue and start thinking about how can we build transportation systems that work for everyone, that are multimodal, that work for bikers and walkers and rollers and children and runners and folks across sort of the spectrum of folks, including cars and buses. How can we create systems that work for all transportation users? And in particular, how can we create thoroughfares of protected spaces for multimodal transportation? So biking, running, walking, stroller use, wheelchair use. And so we're here to just introduce ourselves. Richard and Rick are also with the group representing different organizations. And we hope to have to build a partnership over time with you all and be a resource to think about creative ways that we could incorporate multimodal transportation routes in the region to create a safer environment for all users and more transportation options for all users. So I'm here to just kind of introduce the organization. We'll be involved and sort of coming to these meetings more regularly. And again, we hope to be partners with you all. We don't have a specific agenda. We're not prescriptive. We do have some different ideas on our website for different sort of areas in the city that could use some improvements. And we've sketched out drawings of what those might look like, but they're not prescriptive. They're just a starting point for discussion. And so again, we hope to be a partner. We hope to be an ally with you all to figure out what are the great best solutions that we can come to together to incorporate multimodal transportation throughout the region. And I will hand it to the next speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my name is Richard Robbins. I'm a Grand Traverse County resident, Traverse City resident, live at 720 Center Place near the Boardman Lake area. I'm here to state key problems that we have really identified and frankly, we're all grappling with, including the commission. And that is the problem we have with placing and retaining paint on our roads all over the place. It's a huge issue. And we actually have in the Alliance some fairly strong, professional engineers in road maintenance and management, as well as visualization engineers that are resources that we are able to tap into. And we understand things about the fact that the movement to waterborne paint for environmental reasons has really caused a real challenge for retaining paint on roads. Also, the problem is contractors, when looking to contract for paint downstate, they move their way up based on weather. And even if we have some good days in April where you could put paint down, it's not economically feasible for them to come up and bring their truck. So we generally are kind of the end of the horse relative to getting our paint up here. That's for the cities, the townships, the counties. In the 5-county area, it's an issue. Talk to Benzie, to Leelanau, to Atrium, to Kalkaska. They're all needing the same, having the same problem. So it's an issue, and it's an issue really for safety, guys, because if you don't have paint, it doesn't provide the driving public an understanding of where they should be anticipating, where there's going to be bikists or wheelchair or runners or walkers. And it's a huge safety issue associated with our infrastructure. I found out through the Disability Network that actually seeing eye dogs key off of those very large white stripes at intersections, and that's what they're trained to do. So safety is a huge issue. So I'm going to outline a possible idea, and it's a little new idea. Is what if the Grand Traverse County Road Commission established a cost recovery based department of paint and provided the 5-county region and the cities and townships a cost recovery approach and a service level based agreement for cost recovery to do the painting in the area. It would be one that we could cover our costs and actually be able to do the painting on an as needed basis in those times when you can't do it, or when the downstate contractors can't do it. The advantages are the ability to paint on on what I call the shoulder season days when it's warm enough to keep, number two, keep paint on the road and ensure safe crossing areas are well defined. It controls costs actually, because you're not taking the profit issue out of the equation. And it also internally captures best practices on how to get better. So the ask I have here today is for the road commission to provide a resource to evaluate these options with the GTSSA and come back to the road commission in some period of time, maybe 2-3 months. Then what we would do is come back on with a feasibility analysis as to how that could actually take place. So my ask is I'm looking for a resource that you guys could provide us to communicate with, and we could develop a cost benefit analysis for a cost recovery approach for painting. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wants to make a public comment?
So I'm Scott Gorney. I live in East Bay Township, and I want to talk to you about 3 Mile and Potter Road. I was under the impression that we were going to get a roundabout there after the roundabout that was put out at Potter Road and Garfield. But I understand that it was voted down because I don't know why. I'm not that involved with the overall operations, but over the last couple of years since that, there's been many accidents there. We're fortunate that we have not had a fatality like they did at Garfield and Potter Road. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, a 3-car accident. People were taken to the hospital. It's a terrible intersection. People don't stop. Even though we have the flashing lights there and all that, people don't stop. They run the stop sign. It's been good this year because of 3 Mile being closed, so we haven't had the commercial traffic as much and things like that. But now that it's back open, we're getting the semis again. People going really fast. People turning left or right onto Potter off of 3 Mile. The horns, semis warning people that they're having trouble stopping. We're not even into the winter yet. Coming down that hill from Potter towards 3 Mile, if you're eastbound in the wintertime, it's glare ice and cars slide out into the intersection. I would just like to know what I need to do to help you guys get a roundabout there. I'm the farmer right on the corner. And I don't want somebody to die on my corner. I can offer you a hell of a deal on the property that you guys need to stop this from happening. I sit there every night and hear it. And I know all the accidents that happen there are not reported. I have people coming up to my door at 2 a.m. knocking, asking, can I drive my car through your pasture to get it out after they've gone over the edge from either swerving, missing somebody, or sliding off the road in that area, because it's just terrible. We need to do something about it, and I'm willing to help in any way that I can. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Let's go. Anyone else who would like to make a public comment at this time? Okay, so we're going to close the public comment section. Going to move on to our consent calendar. Kylie.
The consent calendar is used to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together without discussion. Requests by any person present to remove any item from the consent calendar for full discussion as an agenda item are automatically respected. The action noted in parentheses for all items remaining on the consent calendar are approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. The manager recommends the following items be adopted. 1, minutes, 2, payroll, 3, accounts payable, 4, financial reports, and 5, communications.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the board wish to remove any items from the consent calendar? Does anyone from the public wish to remove any item from the consent calendar? Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the consent calendar.
Support. Motion by Commissioner Underwood, supported by Commissioner Warren to approve the consent calendar as amended. Roll call, please.
Lehman,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Corn,
Yes.
Chasm.
Yes, motion passes. Next item is item D, reports, and that is discussion on any items from the staff report. Now, for some of you, you probably noticed that there was a second packet sent out later in the afternoon with the staff report. So that staff report, I believe, starts somewhere around I think it starts on page 44. Maybe it's, yeah,
57.
yeah. Yeah. 57. Yeah, take a minute because I know it wasn't part of the original package, so some of you may not, maybe looking at it for the first time. Any questions regarding the staff report? Okay. Moving on to item E. Commissioner updates on meetings they have attended. Commissioner Lehman. No updates. Commissioner Gilman.
No.
Commissioner Underwood.
Went to a couple of my townships. They said they had their projects in, Dan, hopefully they do. Mayfield. Kingsley is very happy about the Kingsley Road section of the road getting done, like they did about Bronson. I did have an impromptu meeting with Nate Alger, and things are moving ahead for the Beitner Bridge area. Nothing to report back in concrete yet, but things are looking more positive than just a month ago. So
As far as negotiations, so the city,
see, we're going to the city to get things done. So hopefully we'll have more to report on that next month.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Horn.
East Bay Township with Dan. I think that was fine. Under Sheriff Pulis was there reporting on the camera system, which was interesting. And we learned quite a bit, I think, from that. Blair Township, a big milfoil public hearing, nothing big on the roads at all. I did an hour on AM 580, just question and answers, people calling in and texting in on just pretty much mostly asking about the Barney Road and Harris Road, Cedar Run Road, and Gray Road. That would be the majority of the questions that I got. So just always reminding people at all these meetings, use our citizen reporter, and then touched on using that to also please report down stop signs. And it's not just for potholes and deers. We really need everybody's help, especially in our rural townships, so that we don't have any more tragedies like what happened And I think that was it in the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Move on, so we'll move on to item F and Commissioner Cornell, I'll just start with you and we'll go back the other way. Any matters to discuss?
Well, the point I wanted to bring up is on, under item J, there was a lot of concern and questions about the West Senior High traffic light. So I see it there.
So we'll talk about it under item J. Commissioner Underwood.
I put mine in the last comment, so.
Okay,
The only thing,
Second.
yeah, the only thing I guess I would comment on Mr. Gorney's, his topic. I am completely open to talking about a four-way stop there. We don't have the money for a roundabout at this point. Just, we've got other things, as far as in a row and everything. But, given the fact we can't unilaterally slow traffic down to 55 along there, no matter how it ices up in that section between Hammond and Potter Road, which it does incredibly. If we change traffic patterns by putting a stop there, putting a sign at the top of the hill saying, hey, stop sign ahead. And then getting people to just at least, it gives people a chance to look twice and maybe hopefully the traffic starts stopping immediately if we were to do something like that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. It'd be a least expensive option to change the traffic patterns right there. I don't think it would slow anybody down any.
Did we have an RSA on that intersection?
We have,
we did put it,
Yeah, we did. It
We didn't get awarded it,
didn't
did
come
we?
anywhere even near
Yeah.
warrants.
yeah.
75 was 1.1 to put a light, one might have a light in.
I thought Mr. Gorney said that they are flashing lights alerting a stop
There are.
sign.
There are.
Right.
There are, but
So
they're
those are
stopping
running
one
the
way.
stop. Oh,
But it's a yellow light and the two.
Yeah.
Red.
I think the problem is that if people are gonna run stop signs that, we can put a four-way stop sign. If people are just gonna not obey. I think the problem, that Mr. Borney is bringing to the attention is that you almost have to force people to slow down and, a roundabout is one, but we can't, change that. But obviously we don't have the money to put a roundabout there, so.
The interesting thing about the stop sign might be, he spoke out a little bit about the commercial traffic on there. If there's a stop sign on there, some of the commercial traffic might stay on Garfield rather than have to do
Yeah, that's possible.
an inconvenient full stop. Cause it's much easier for a loaded truck to navigate a roundabout than to come to a stop. So perhaps if there is a four-way red flashing light and stop signs there, maybe if we can get engineering to look at some ideas that if the trucks are inconvenienced enough, they'll stay on Garfield, which is where we really want our heavy traffic.
Well, 3 mile, I know. Quite engineer, 3 mile.
Yeah.
A lot of those trucks are coming out of the business park at the end of 3 mile, down by the railroad tracks. So they just come
So
down.
they may not have
They go
another,
south.
so they,
Heading south.
so they may not have
They
another
go
round
north to Garfield,
to go.
or they go north to Garfield. So their destination isn't Traverse City, it's the
Mhm.
off 3 mile.
If we don't meet the warrants, be granted the RSA or be awarded the RSA grant, not grant.
You better explain.
Do you have, a road safety audit? So we applied for one through MDOT, their safety grant program, and we put in several different intersections in town that we think are problematic, and this one is one of them. And you have to meet these warrants, like benchmarks, for lack of a better term, in order, and this sounds terrible, but like how many fatalities and, yeah. Anyways, this one did not meet those warrants. Dan said didn't come close to being granted this grant. That doesn't mean that, but my question is, if you want to put up things like a four-way stop, you have to meet certain warrants and have it approved by MDOT because it's a traffic safety device, right? A stop sign.
They don't have to approve
I
it, and we do
don't think-
something,
yeah.
if we do something that isn't, we might be creating our own hazards.
Yes.
If
Right.
it doesn't meet the warrants. It's
Right. So
It's
you
really
have to
what it
meet
is.
these warrants.
You have to have
Yeah.
a number, the severity and number of accidents. And otherwise, we're putting up impediments to traffic flow, which makes people more angry, more likely to speed, more likely to tailgate.
I spoke a little bit out by saying Warren said, yeah, they are low, but overall, the intersection didn't rate very well to get a grant.
Does that also mean that it wouldn't rate very well to make these types of changes? Is, I guess what I was wondering is, can I
If we-
compare that or not?
Yeah, if we were trying to get funding, we're competing against all 83 counties. When they look at that intersection, it was rated very, very low. So our chances of getting one weren't, and we've been denied on it before, and that's why.
For an RSA. And do we need an RSA in order to consider, for example, placing 2 additional stop signs on 3 Mile?
I don't think you need an RSA.
I mean, Chris is shaking his head, so Chris,
We need engineering to
Yeah.
do
Right.
a full traffic. Next study, I would say.
yeah, Chris, what do we need?
You would have to do a study to make sure that it's warranted and that the more dominant north-south movement there on 3 Mile, it likely would not warrant the stops on that side, but you have to study it.
So we have talked about doing an intersection study next spring. On certain intersections, I think we should add this particular intersection to that study that we have talked about for spring.
You do that?
The other issue I wanted to bring up is what Ms. Smith brought up, which is this issue. Mike, I guess one question I had is this part of the detour, or why is there an increase in commercial semi truck traffic on this particular road?
636 is the detour.
So I thought the construction project was over. So why is that still being used?
I would say it's probably back closer to standard flow traffic, but they say when you do a detour like that, sometimes people will find they like the detour better, and your traffic volumes will increase based off of that.
And apparently, are sections of that particular road weight restricted?
I'm not aware of that. I had not heard that before. I'd have to look into that. As far as when we have like the Waymasters, when I heard from the state, Oak Road is the only one that I'm aware of. There might be something I'm not aware of, but.
Chris, are you able to shed light on that?
It's not through truck restricted. The southern portion is restricted during our frost laws. It's on that map of restricted.
Okay.
And isn't that going to be used next summer?
It is, yeah.
That's why.
We're speaking of frost laws, most of the roads are frost law protected.
Are there any, I mean, short of putting a person out there, what are there any options that we can?
They're not legally breaking the law. If the truck's down there on the traffic, it's, it's 636 of the.
633, isn't that an all, 633, isn't that an all-season truck route in that?
I believe it is.
That section is.
I
And
think
the
they
speed
might be,
limit is
It's not
35.
a designated truck route, but it is an all season.
So it seems like the truck traffic is one, but they're also speeding, which obviously we have nothing to do with speeding. That would be a law enforcement issue. But yeah, I guess that cleared up some of my questions about the weight restriction.
You could, I can understand how she could.
I
Yeah,
definitely
right.
can,
Because
absolutely.
the homes are close to the
Yeah,
road through that
absolutely.
section. At least through the town, at least through the town hall.
But it seems like that it's only frost law restricted and they're legally on that road. As far as the speed is concerned, yeah, I mean, I think the best option would be to report that to the sheriff's department or to the MSP, and maybe they can put a person out there. And if they are there for a couple of days and write a bunch of tickets, maybe that would discourage people from speeding there. I don't know. So, okay, we will move on to item G, which is the purchase of 2 one-ton dump trucks, and that's the handout that you should have. And Dan, just want to give a quick update. Right?
Sure. So this are some cabin chassis pickup trucks that we purchased previously. Now we're just getting those updated. These are used for patch wagon trucks. I apologize. We've been trying for a month to get these pricing in. We finally got them in. We had to push them very hard today. I didn't put on there, this is actually my deal pricing. So this is my deal pricing. We did get 2 quotes in both today from Truck and Trailer and Knapheide. Knapheide was a little bit more money, but their lead time to get these trucks done is 4 months. Truck and Trailer was 1.5 years, so we are recommending Knapheide. Yeah, for
$600.
yeah, $600 different, yeah.
Any questions?
Were there other vendors that you have that you like that didn't respond, or we only basically have a couple of them?
Yeah, these are the 2 that we've worked with in the past. And we reached out to that My Dealer Source Full Price.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We purchased the 2 truck bodies for $15,689.71 per truck.
From Knapheide.
From that time.
Okay. We have a motion from Commissioner Lehman, supported by Commissioner Gilman, to proceed with the purchase of 2 GMC 3500 dump trucks through Knapheide. I'm sorry.
Truck bodies. Not there.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
truck bodies through Knapheide for the amount of $31,379.42. There's no further discussion. Roll call, please.
Underwood,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Haslam.
Yes, motion passes. I just have one.
Yeah, so item H, we just got the pricing in for it and I was not comfortable with the pricing. I think we can do better than what came in, so I did not want to present that to the board tonight. I want to do some more research and try to find other options.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you. So then we'll move on to item 5, which is the Frankie Road Design Services. You would have received through a separate email, 4 separate attachments from Kylie. So Chris.
We put out an RFP for design services of Frankie Road. We sent the RFP out to 5 different consultants that provide engineering services. We received responses back from 2 of them. Staff reviewed the responses that we received back, and we are recommending that we award the design services to OH.
Chris, I have a very obvious question.
Yeah.
Which is, one of the bidders estimated a price of $200,000 for this project. The other one has submitted a price of $84,500. Are we sure we're talking apples to apples here?
One of them focused very heavily in their proposal on the traffic safety component of the design request. The other one focused very heavily on the road part of the design request. Where they intend to focus there is not necessarily why there's such a difference between them is not necessarily clear.
Okay. When you say one focused more on this road safety part of the project and the other focused on the engineering part, to my mind, shouldn't they both be part of the project with equal emphasis?
Both consultants did submit for, we sent the initial one out, as you can see in the RFP and the addenda there. We sent the initial request out, primarily focused on the road and with indications that they should take into account the issues that we see related to the Montessori school down there at TCAPS. One of the consultants submitted a question to the RFP, which resulted in the addendum. And the addendum indicated that we would like to have them also include an optional task for a
Safety, like a count, right? Traffic study.
a traffic study
Yeah.
relating to the Montessori school and
Yeah.
to take a look at the potential pedestrian crossing that TCAPS asserts that they have an agreement for from the Meyer parking lot to their facility. And how that relates to the traffic coming in and out there and the road design. The one consultant with the higher price there was very focused on that aspect of the design with their proposal. The other one said they could provide the same traffic study there, but did not provide as much detail and focus on that and had a considerably smaller number on it.
Yeah, because even the traffic study with one bidder is 5,750, the other one is 32,300. So there's substantial difference there as well. And then I'm looking at how you have, how the engineering has scored this. And on project understanding and approach, the higher priced vendor scores better. Not by much, but still better. On proposed schedule and project management, the higher priced vendor scores better. Experience and past performance, both are same. Key personnel and team qualifications, both are same. So the biggest difference is on proposal cost, no surprise. And that's what tips the scale in the favor of the lower cost bidder. I guess my concern is that I don't want us to approve a contract based upon a lower price. And then 6 months down into the project, you are coming back to us with additional addendums to the contract for additional contract price, which, depending upon how many amendments there are to the contract, ends up paying either equal or greater than what the other price is. Yeah, I think I am finished with my question, so yes.
All right, so. Based upon what I thought I was hearing, is that there's an agreement for a cross between Meyer and the school.
TCAPS has asserted.
They've asserted
that
that.
agreement.
They asserted that to us.
Anything
Let's,
that
let's,
proves that
let's,
to be the
let's
case.
assume that the difference in the cost of design services is premised largely on that. When the time comes and we do the design services and TCAP screams, hey, you haven't put our crossing together for us. We say, all right, here's the invoice. And if you'd like to get this included into the design services, then you can pay that bill because we're picking up enough of expense because of their decision to place the Montessori school there in the first place without any consultation as far as traffic studies and how it's going to affect the traffic patterns and what have you.
Right.
I have absolutely zero sympathy if there's a cost to them on this particular things.
It's $85,000 is not chump change.
And it's, and
To begin with, that is plenty high enough. And it's quite a short section of road.
Right.
The complication are the crosswalk, which TCAPS has asserted to us that they have that totally under control. I think 84,000 is plenty high enough for a short section of road. That
Is this the total?
Hold on, are you done?
Yeah, and OHM has been, we've selected them for many projects and they are highly qualified. And I don't think they would have submitted something to us if they didn't think they were gonna spend an adequate amount of time and doing a good job.
Is this the whole road?
It is.
And why would we not do a traffic study? Because it says optional.
If we're gonna go do a section of road normally like that, we're not gonna do a big traffic impact study, but since the Montessori school is there. And it is needing a lot of a reason why we need to look at this, that would be the reason you'd want to do some sort of traffic impact study. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris.
That's why we're considering it. The Montessori school has a pickup and drop off that leads to congestion that pushes out onto Frankie Road. They, as we've already discussed, asserted that they have an agreement with Meyer to drop children off in the parking lot and have them run across Frankie Road. We have not seen any of that agreement. If it weren't for the fact that the Montessori school was there, we wouldn't consider this at all. We would crush and shape this road and put back a nice new smooth road and call it good. The fact that the school is there and they have created a problem for us in regards to the traffic patterns there is why we would like to include the traffic study as it relates to Montessori school.
It's hard for the public to understand that the school system makes decisions. And actually, it's my understanding that at one time they did come to the road commission for advice, and the previous manager told them, if you're going to do that, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and they literally ignored what he suggested. And they did create the problem that we now have to fix. And I just want everybody to understand that we have multiple school districts in Grand Traverse County. So those kids that go to Buckley, those kids that go to Kingsley, those kids that go to Forest Lake, and those kids that go over here to Elk Rapids that live in Grand Traverse County, we're gonna have to put this bill to fix what TCAPS created once again, just like they did with West. They go out, they put a school down, and they don't do any forethought what's gonna do to the roads. So we gotta do it, but good Lord, they really should come and actually collaborate with the road commission when they want to build a new school.
The inadequate amount of traffic. They didn't really, there's almost no busing to Montessori school. I'm not even sure any. The parents all pick up and drop off all their children.
Yeah, there's no.
And the pickup and drop off lanes that they're engineer and they incorporate in that site are less than 50% of the size needed for the traffic volumes that they have.
My understanding was they had high hopes of acquiring a piece of property that has a home on it that's near the school. And had really leaned into that being the ingress egress, and at last minute when that wasn't possible, there was kind of this makeshift ingress egress sort of setup for the drop off. I think I'm having a hard time understanding this, so I need Chris to help me. Taking the crosswalk component out of this project, just removing it, because we all seem to have an understanding that TCAPS and Meyer or whatever are involved in that. So let's pretend that that's not part of this scope. Then we're looking at design. I mean, do we know that both of these responses are taking out of account the crosswalk? Because when you look at it, there was a caveat in the RFP that had to do with wetlands, because that's really my real question here is the wetlands. Because we all know how that can add on, that can double your budget. Look at Town Line Road. So I saw the caveat for the wetlands, but I didn't see anything like descript about this crosswalk. So is that is not part of our project, right?
That's TCAPS is.
Right.
If they were gonna put that in there, like we haven't seen the agreement. We could do the curb cuts and make sure everything was there for them, but physically put the crosswalk in with
Right.
TCAPS' responsibility. We're just trying to find ways to make it flow so that traffic's not backing up on the road
Right.
and calm traffic a little bit.
Because I know when we do our project, there's already a Safe Routes to School contract with Garfield Township and the sidewalk that's going to be coming in on that road. And I kind of thought that the idea was TCAPS was going to piggyback on that concept. Well, hey, it's already ripped up and we're all doing it, so we're going to do our project too. And then we had Safe Routes to School coming in with the crosswalk, coming in with the road construction. Or am I being way too efficient by thinking that that?
We've met with Garfield Township and TCAPS, so they'll know that we're doing this.
Yeah,
If this gets approved tonight, we'll be reaching back out to them, telling them who we're gonna be working with, and then they can partner with them as well, or they can have their designated
Right.
engineer partner with them. If they want to add something onto the project while we're doing the road services.
like, I mean, hearing what Jason said and Alan too, though. I just need some kind of understanding as these numbers that we're voting on. These don't include design concepts for the Safe Routes to School sidewalk or the crosswalk. It's literally our crush and shape project, but like you said, maybe some curb cuts that have to do with the crosswalk or whatever.
Our big thing would be, we're looking for calming procedures for the road because of the school being there. That's what's gonna change our design of what we would normally just go in and crush the road right back to its normal size. We're looking for ways to, a turn lane or to stack traffic, but also just to calm traffic down and slow it down because the kids are running back and forth. We know they're doing it. We can't control it or stop it, but we can try to slow the traffic down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're put in a bad situation. There's a lot of things I don't like about this. There's a lot of heavy truck traffic with the Meyer. The junior high bus route comes out there, that's their driveway, so we've got consistently school, but there might not be school buses for the Montessori school, but there's dozens of them for the junior high, right? You've got Greenspire coming out right there, along with the Commons and whatever comes along with that. But these are significantly large vehicles. Frankie Road is a very short amount of road that has a very large, like, high volume of large vehicles. So I never liked the idea of the kids being dropped off at the Meyer and walking across the street. As a parent, I wouldn't like that. So I think that's the really important part to me, is just like being able to grasp the scope of what we're paying for. And then understanding that it would work in conjunction with these. We might not be paying for crosswalk design or sidewalk design, but it's really important that we all work together. Like, we can't just silo ourselves and say, well, we're not paying for the crosswalk or we're not paying for the sidewalk. We need to have integrative designs. And it wasn't like very clear on this. And then also there was the wetland component, which I think is really important to talk about, because Creekside right there, you know, the neighborhood. You ever drive through there when we've had a rain event? Oh boy, there's actual ducks that live in that subdivision and live in people's front yards because there's standing water so much there. So there's a significant engineering issue there with that road. And I'm curious what our thoughts are for that and how it impacts Frankie Road as well. Frankie Road is one of the top asked about roads in this county, and most of us drive on it for whatever reason. And I think it's really important that we have a really good, solid discussion about it and make sure that all the important components are in it. So I didn't see that in here. And I'm not saying that's anybody's fault or somebody didn't do something. I'm just not understanding, like Hyder brought up, the difference in the design. So I kind of broke it down. I thought it was wetland, but that's added in here as an extra. That's not integrated into the design solution. So
We see
What's
this kind of
going
thing all the time with bids. You could have a bidder that's rather busy and, you know, they're
Yeah.
not really
For
much
sure.
work, and they're like,
For
I'll
sure.
take it, but it's gonna be this price. Or we have another bidder that hasn't done any work with us in a while that might come in aggressive and say, hey, I wanna do some work with you guys.
I have one follow-up question on the safety part of it. You said that one of the designs may more heavily focus on the safety part of it and the other. When you're talking about the safety component, what are you specifically referring to?
I specifically what I was referring to is the traffic study related to the crossings there at the
Okay.
Montessori school and the middle school.
Okay, and then to Dan's comments about traffic calming measures, are the designs submitted by both the bidders identical in terms of the traffic calming measures they're proposing, or is that different too?
At this stage, there's not designs.
No design.
We're admitting to do something.
Yeah.
With this,
But, okay,
with those ideas in mind.
with those ideas in
Yeah.
mind, okay.
So that's where we need, I think, the
Well,
clarity.
we discussed at the construction committee when Dr. John Van Wagner was here, that potentially it might even be a median.
Okay,
Okay.
There's not much more you're gonna be able to do there.
no, I mean, the
Like they did on
wetlands
Woodmere.
there.
We're not the experts in the
Right, that's
department
why
here
we,
with traffic calming,
Right,
measures,
right.
and so we wanted to leave that very open to the design firms that have experts in that area and let them decide what was the appropriate way to help us achieve our goal there.
So
Yeah.
you are comfortable with making this recommendation?
I am comfortable with this recommendation. I think that you are correct. I think there is a possibility that as we get into it and we look at some of the safety related components there with the Montessori school there, I think there is a possibility that we will see additional costs and we'll have to negotiate something else. In looking at this and seeing such a large discrepancy, what we did consider was the RFP that we had recently submitted for the design services of Cass Road. The average for the design services on Cass Road, which included a signal modernization, were about 200,000, a little less. We looked at that in comparison with what we're looking at here for Frankie Road. We felt that one firm was rather aggressive with their pricing and we think they might be interested in it, but that's purely speculation. We think the other firm might be a little busy and they might have put a little higher price on it. as Dan alluded to.
Mhm.
That's purely speculation at this point in time. I would suspect that the recommended proposal may come back with some addendums to get further into the work that we want to see there.
Just considering, I mean, this is OHM. This is not a new kid on the block or anything. They know what they're doing, and we have gone pretty heavy, the way trim on some engineering, design services in the last year. So
They're both highly
they're
qualified.
both highly qualified, and frankly, if you're OHM, you want to keep your people busy. So
You making a motion?
make the motion that we accept that we approve OHM for the design services of Frankie Road rehabilitation and an estimated cost of $84,500.
Okay. Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Gilman, supported by Commissioner Lehman to award the design services contract to OHM for the Frankie Road Rehabilitation Project at a proposed estimated cost of $84,500.
And authorizing the current manager of engineering to issue the notice to proceed.
Oh, yes, and authorizing the interim manager of engineering to issue a notice to proceed. Yeah, sure.
Do we want to, we have the optional task here. Do we want to take care of that now, or do you want to come back if we have?
I included the optional task in the recommendation.
So we actually have. It's more than the 84.5.
I believe the 845 includes
That includes-
Traffic. They got the optional.
Okay. I just want to make sure, okay, because the way I read it is.
Yeah, the way I read it too, that it was the base fee was 84.5 and then optional task was below it at for 57.50.
You are correct.
Yes, it's not added because 78 plus 5 is
You want to do
84.
that, or do you want to just? Dan can do that at a discretion too.
Actually, that could be done at its discretion.
Works. I just want to make sure.
It is optional, so. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we have the motion. We'll stick with the motion as made. If there's no other discussion, roll call, please.
Gilman,
Yes.
Corn,
Yes,
Neiman,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Chasm.
Yes. Motion passes.
I have something that is in discussion, just a quick clarification. Construction letting date, no later than April 3rd, 2026. I don't know what letting means.
When they open the bids.
Okay.
All right, so we'll move on to item J, which is traffic signals at Cedar Run and Gray and Straight and North Long. Dan.
So just wanted to bring up an idea. Haley and Chris came to me with this one. We're getting ready to start to replace that signal in front of the high school on the west, agency west. With the components that are still good coming with that one and some other components that we've recycled, we could probably put a light together. And with that, it'd be roughly around $35,000. We could install a light somewhere. I know there's been a lot of talk about these two intersections. So thought was to have a discussion, bring that to the board, that we could potentially put a light at one of these intersections for that dollar amount. And now there's more to it than that. You know, we've identified that there should be turn lanes put in, if we're gonna put a light in. So you got better traffic volumes, we're gonna cause some backups. Now, we would have detection. Now, currently, we have the temporary signal in place at Gray Road. It does not have detection. So there's times where you are stopped, there's nobody on the other side. You know, it's very annoying.
Right.
You would eliminate that issue because you have detection in there, but without the turn lanes, you're still gonna cause backup
Mhm.
problems. Now, there's maybe a possibility of even enough materials left to put a second light together. We need to find out. So we might be able to do two lights. At about that $35,000 mark, we know we can do one for sure right now. We should
35,000 either for one or 35,000.
35,000 each. We're $500,000 to install a light.
Yeah, and we still have to post it and, post it.
You're talking about the light itself, right?
We can have an operational light for $35,000, post everything up and running.
Okay, we talked about the warrants for these for intersections. Do one of these, are one of them more favored than the other? Is there some place to focus of?
I know we focused heavily on trying to get the peanut roundabout in there in straight road, and if we do this at one of our things, it's gonna knock us down even further on those. When we do the RSAs or to try to get the grant, they're gonna say, we improve the intersection, it's probably gonna knock us down further. To not have an option to do something there, we're probably not gonna get funded.
So that would be a reason to not put it at Straight Road and North Long Lake Road, because that really is not our ultimate preferred
Right.
solution.
We're not fixing the ultimate issue there.
Except we have applied for 2 straight years and we keep getting denied. And I asked Dan for some options at the last meeting, so this was one of the options.
My only concern is backing up the traffic on the through roads. That is
Right.
not backed up now. But it's got detection, and
I mean, that's,
I don't think this is very expensive
no,
in the general scheme of
right.
how things cost the road commission. I would certainly start with the gray road one, but I think they're both great.
Yeah, I think my concern is just doing that. I think it has to be done in conjunction with left turn lanes on on Cedar Run, at least, if you're just focusing on that. Because even with a detection system, if we don't have a left turn dedicated lane, traffic is going to back up on that one car or 2 cars that want to turn left. And there's oncoming traffic from the other side.
So do you want to suggest to the staff okay, we're probably you want to do this, but what you'd like is a plan for next spring, and don't just swing over and put up the lights now.
Exactly.
Next spring, at least one of the intersections, let's get it turn lane.
Just let's do it the proper way.
Do we have enough land?
That's, I think there might be enough there, we might have to fire a little bit. Depending on how much, we do have some rough estimates put together. You could do turn lanes a few different ways. We could go with 1,000 feet in each direction, completely redo that intersection, put turn lanes in every direction. Do a full crush and shake, have a brand new road there. You're probably looking at $500,000 for a rough work to do something like that. Or we could do the existing roadway there, add minimal turn lanes. We could do an overlay, and you're probably more down that $200,000 range. So there is some options there.
I prefer the 200 or
Well, we don't want to take away from our 5-year plan by throwing other projects. Okay, we have a budget for this, we have a plan for this. Now we're gonna throw in these other things, which are gonna throw the budget off and the plan. I would ask us to be careful.
Is there a reason Harris Road can't? Is it just because of the hill and all of the other issues that were in the RSA, or?
I think we need to do more studies on that.
it's an unmitigated disaster. Let's put it that way. That traffic light that we have there on Harris Road, it took me 30 minutes to get from Straight Road to Harris Road
Because
of traffic backups. Because
backups on Cedar
on
Run.
Cedar Run, because when that light is red, the traffic light on gray is green, they're turning and then they're stopped. So when the Cedar Run light turns green, the traffic is stopped there waiting for the
So
traffic.
it's because of the timing between the 2 lights.
It's the timing of between the 2 lights or whatever it is. But it's not, and we are getting inundated with phone calls over here with complaints about the Harris Road light. And when I was stopped at the Harris Road light, during that time period, only 1 car turned left off of Harris Road onto Seafield. And this is in the morning, so it's an absolute nightmare over
There's a
there.
huge concern of putting the light there as well, the hill.
The hill is,
The hill is what I.
The hill,
Yeah, I truck
In the winter time?
In the winter, he's probably
Yeah.
will take back off. You're gonna have some issues there.
Sometimes the only way to get up Cedar Hill Road is for people to increase their speed.
True.
And if there's a stoplight there,
A
stop.
roundabout would probably be a better option there. And if we put a light there, we'd be in the same situation we're talking about on Straight Road, that we're gonna deduct ourselves for the ability to maybe get a further grant, which would be a better option. If we're really talking long-term and, grand scheme and wish list, we've talked about punching Zimmerman all the way through. You punch that through, that's gonna be Harris Road, you end up a lot of traffic there. There's a light and all that, it's gonna be a lot of traffic, people even backing up there, would a roundabout be a better option there? So I think that one needs a lot more of a study and we looked at before we We talked about any options.
We just have to be prepared to answer people, so that's why I'm asking.
Yep.
Obviously, that's a frequently asked question is why is there a blinking light at Harrison Cedar Run? And I always say the hill, because to me, the hill is a pretty reasonable answer to that. And I know that the RSA, we had discussed the hill and changing the slope of the hill if we were to have some kind of stopping mechanism there. But as far as, I guess I'm still trying to understand how something that's 500,000 can be 35,000. I mean, I love it. I don't know what kind of voodoo is involved in that, but
The 500,000.
The 500,000 was a lane.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the idea of being able to offer some kind of something. Well, I don't know, and I don't know what the right answer is. I drive on those roads every day. and I don't
There's
know.
also included maybe fancy light poles on pedestrian crossings when we do an intersection design. These are rural things that they're gonna put up a traffic.
Yeah,
light.
they're rural, so there's not. But what you're thinking is maybe for the spring, when we're going, so we're obviously discussing a budget for the next year. We would be looking at something along these lines in the budget.
Well, and I'm sensitive to the point that Alan raised too, which is that we have a 5-year project plan, and you know,
Well, we got-
and then we start. Yeah, then we start throwing things randomly into it. So I am sensitive to that point too. The only response to that I have is that at least both these intersections have been the topic of discussion for as long as. So it's not a new problem that just popped up overnight, and we are reacting to it. It has been a topic of discussion by this board for over the last 3 years or 4 years, both those intersections, and we have gotten commissioners calling on this. We have gotten township supervisors calling on it. So it's not a new problem. And so I think that's my counter response. to
Right, no, but I think
your-
you have to be, I think they have to be aware of the fact that what this, every reactionary thing, a plan, when we take our money and focus it on a real thing, that's a lot of lane miles we don't do. And when you complain about the roads in our county, you have to say, well, yeah, we put $2 million in that intersection, so we're not gonna do 12 or 15 miles of roads.
But
We have to have some balance.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't believe, I disagree that it's reactionary. Because we spent 2 fiscal years trying to get a grant for a peanut, and before that, we were trying to get an engineering design for this North Long Lake and Straight Road intersection. So we have tried other options. We keep getting rejected for those grant applications. So this is just the progression on that attempt to solve that intersection as to what can we do. And that is why I'm not suggesting that we go out tomorrow and slap a traffic light there.
No, but should those concerns of ours, which you and I have talked about being capacity concerns, right? Getting more people through those intersections in a timely and safe manner. Should capacity issues be part of our discussion, should have been part of our discussion within the 5-year plan?
The capacity, I think the capacity discussions have been the focus on that. My point is that we also have to take the safety component on it, because every time an accident happens at one of these intersections, we get blamed.
Yes.
And so at some point, I think it becomes to a point where people then start saying, well, is it going to take a fatal accident for it to happen? And God forbid I don't want it to be a fatal accident for us to react at that point. So my point is that I want to balance capacity and traffic flow with safety as well. And so what's a good compromise between the two? So we are not backing up traffic on these roads, but we're also addressing the safety concerns.
Right, but I think they're hand in hand.
We're still, and I understand that we're not being reactionary, because yes, we've looked at these. We've also looked at dozens of other intersections that people complain about periodically. We do have at this time a greater exposure to traffic craziness because of that stupid roundabout work that they did it. I mean, it's great. It's not, have you been through it? It's very nice.
It's lovely. Yes.
Okay.
Great roundabout.
But the fact is, our drivers have suffered the entire year for that intersection in a number of ways. I got my last call on that about 4 or 5 days ago. And I said, hey, I just went through it. It's open. It's crazy, you know? And, so I think maybe we'll back up. I don't mind having the discussion about the lights. I think it's a great idea. We should put together a team that we could throw into a needed area at some point. But to the point that Heider's talking about, I mean, we don't want to have, without a left turn lane,
Right.
we have a problem.
Yeah,
We still have a problem.
Yes.
I don't want to create another problem with that.
Yeah.
So
Neither
I think
do I.
let's let the traffic naturalize over the winter and see what's going on before we make any harder decisions.
We've had 2 great partners with Garfield and Long Lake. Would they be willing to help us in this area too?
I can reach out and talk to them.
Just. I mean, they've been phenomenal with Barnes Road. So,
Yeah.
they'd be willing to help in that area too. Just to help cover the costs, because it is their citizenry moving back and forth there, so.
Long Lake Road is a 2-lane road, except didn't they put in a center turn lane by the new fire station,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's a very
Actually,
short.
We made them do that.
We may have
Yeah,
to do that.
it's a very short thing. So setting that aside, it's a 2-lane road
Yes.
and it is a major commuting corridor.
Mhm.
So putting in a traffic light at the Moomers intersection. I mean, if any of us to turn off a straight road, we all want a traffic light, like we do. There's a great turn lane there now. There, traffic light, that would be great. But I'm thinking about that commute. What does that do when you've got 0 room for capacity? Because a 2-lane road and it's gonna be stopping and set aside a little area for the fire trucks to go in. There's not a lot. But that would be the intersection I'm probably most interested in. I hate to say that because the other 2 impact my daily life more, but the Moomers traffic is crazy. And then you've got, is it Fresh Coast Market? Very busy. Like, that's a big one for all the boaters going in and out right down there at the lake. I'm grateful there hasn't been something terrible that's happened at the intersection. But I think it's just a matter of time. So I think that's a really important thing. And I agree, we don't want to screw up our grant, but Heider's right. We've been talking about Moomers for years now.
Well, and let's talk about this too. You know me, I'm a kind of a local, as far as if we can't fund it locally. And the only way we can do it is by grants and we decide not to do it, then maybe it wasn't that important. I'm of the opinion, and we have put our money where our mouth is as far as that peanut about idea. We're almost there in terms of space. I mean, what we need is design services and paving, and we could have that solution effective. And I don't know how much it costs. It may or may not be as much or less than a typical roundabout. By the time it's said and done, I think we could probably do something relatively simple. But we may just have to pick up the tab and make that happen. We've got a higher population count up there. We've got traffic counts. I don't know when the last traffic count we've done out there is. But I mean, what are we at? 10, 20,000 cars a day? I mean, what are the numbers?
16,000 or something.
Just down at the high school, we had previously seen about 9,000. The last count occurred while that traffic was detouring through there and we were seeing 16.
Yeah, 16,000,
Okay.
but that was during the detour.
Yeah, okay.
But still 90,000 cars.
Yeah, 9,000 is a lot too.
Significant.
And the thing is, if we drop a light in there, it really does affect traffic.
I think it does.
I think-
Absolutely.
I think it'd be,
And going backwards towards Twin Lake, I mean, people will be backed up going away from town too. And that's in the
So,
winter
on a hill.
especially, on a hill.
I'm of the opinion, I think if we could get a little help with Long Lake Township, maybe if nothing else, even lobbying for a little assistance. We could really clean that intersection up. We don't need more than a few feet of space on the church property, and we've already got the other end taken care of as far as the other turnaround side, because we have that house that can come down there at any time. And so, I mean,
The other thing is that when I look at these two intersections, to me, they are very similar. They're both T intersections. They are both have roads, gray road, predominant traffic turning left, straight road, predominant traffic turning
Yes.
left. Both have both have approaches coming up to the intersection that are around a curve.
Yeah.
Both Cedar Run, so they are very similar in terms of their orientation. So whatever we do at one intersection, I think from a design standpoint,
Well,
and engineering, I think that
we also
applies to
have,
the
yeah,
other.
we also have, of course, we have East Long Lake that, I mean, so we've got,
Right, and then,
Yeah.
that which is in a shorter distance than Harris, but
Right.
but there is that school intersection, road that goes into West High School, that is a road that traffic is turning in and out of, so they are very similar in that. So whatever from a design and engineering standpoint, I think it can be applied to both those intersections if we decide to do one or both at the same time.
Well, I would want the peanut about. Obviously, it keeps traffic flowing. You don't have the backup issues. I think it can incorporate East Long Lake and also the Moomers driveway. Is that correct? That it was able to.
Yeah, I
incorporate
think
that
it
in,
was,
right?
But we don't have a design.
we don't have a design, but that was.
Right, but that was the
goal,
concept, right?
yeah.
Because if we were to put a traffic light there, we couldn't, I don't think geographically, we couldn't make like a four-way with Moomers having a thing. You can't discount the amount of people that drive in and out of that ice cream place. It is significant. Like, it really is mind-boggling on days when no one should want ice cream. That place is absolutely overflowing. So I think we do have to take that into account. But if we all are leaning towards the peanut about, then maybe we're going back to talking about Gray and Long Lake for maybe in the spring.
Cedar Run.
Gray and
I'm
Cedar
sorry,
Run.
Gray and Cedar Run for maybe.
But the issue, but I think some of the issues are the same. We put a traffic
You're right.
on Gray Road and Cedar Run, we're still having the issue. It has to be done right. So because we can't create traffic backups on additional traffic backups. Long Lake was already backed up. Now we have done things on Cedar Run that now traffic is backing
Right.
up on Cedar Run. And now we created a problem that wasn't there, but we created.
Right. Well, I think ultimately the problem is we live in an area that is growing substantially and exponentially faster than any of us could ever keep up with our budgets and our infrastructure. Like, it's just not possible to welcome 1 million
thanks
people.
tourism.
Like, you just can't. So we're left with that, but ultimately, we want to be safe. I think all of us, as our primary goal is to have it be safe. So yeah, would the backups create more safety issues? Certainly creates more angry drivers.
Very
That
angry
can-
drivers.
Very angry. And
Turning
that can-
around, doing U-turns, unsafe while there's a oncoming traffic. just
100%
because
on U-turn.
They are mad.
But
because-
then also the left turn, not having that green light for the left
Right,
turn.
and
It's
there's
a
that.
really difficult thing to wait at.
So I have one thing, and it's just for food for thought. I sat through one of the meetings with the association. And they talked about how if you have a project or a few projects that you put together and bond. You're doing a 30-year project, but you're paying for it over 10 to 15 years. That can spread your money further. You can get the project done. Yes, you're gonna dedicate that amount of money to pay off that bond. But anytime after that bond, say 10 years, anytime after that 10 years is done, your road is then paid for, operational. Something to think about where you can stretch your money and get a project like Jason was saying, we might have to step up and do it ourselves. Just food for thought. Couple of the counties have tried it. They think it's very successful. And I know Phil's probably freaking out over there, but
Well,
it is a way to do things. But you gotta look at a 30-year cycle, but you're paying for it 10 years.
I don't think
Well,
we're talking about even a funding problem for this.
Talking about the timing problem.
The timing problem, doing things together would perhaps be a problem. And the road commission is about to receive some extra, some funding help. But we still have to prioritize.
Right.
The existing beat up horrid road versus the certain key elements that we want to focus on.
i.e. Frankie Road. Right? I mean, we just had a very detailed discussion on I mean, that is a road that has needed help for a long time, so. We have one traffic, we'll be,
Absolutely a
You know?
priority,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I do want to thank Dan and Haley,
yeah,
the staff, because I know that you guys have taken 99% of the brunt. You know, we get yelled at a little, you guys get yelled at all the time. And I know that people have been pretty mean because of their anger with the construction this summer. And they've just been awful. So coming out of the box with this kind of idea, like I'm still, again, whatever voodoo occurred, love it, happy about it. Like these kind of ideas are amazing. And that's what we rely on you for. We are different. We took an oath of office to represent people and try to make the best interest in the bigger picture, but we can't do it without these parts. So to even have this to talk about extra traffic lights, like I even think we'd even be talking about that for our budget potential next year. So thank you. That's huge.
and I would say for Harris Road, I certainly hope that those people who were advocating for a light on Harris Road have now gotten a little taste of what traffic would look like if they got their wish granted. So, in a way, I think part of this job requires us to acknowledge the fact when we try experiment something and it doesn't work out.
Sure.
We acknowledge that we tried it, it didn't work out. Okay, we'll move on to something else. With Harris Road, there was all these, we talked about it, okay, as a possible measure to address congestion at that intersection traffic light. We knew it wasn't going to be a feasible solution just because of the hill from the other side. In wintertime, there was no way that would work. But it doesn't even work at this time of year. So,
But that was MDOT, right? Like
well, we asked them, I think.
Okay,
We had to close the thing down for roundabout again and wanted to detour through us. And we said last time there was a big request for something on Harris Road.
okay,
Yeah.
Would you put a temporary light
which is
there?
good.
Which
I
is
mean,
good. We got it there and we realized that.
but are we
that was
certain
not-
that it's not a light, it's maybe not a light problem, it's a timing problem? Or we think it's a
We-
light problem? Like, do we feel pretty good about?
It's a combination, I think.
It's a combination. Maybe there's a light, but I don't know. There's only so much you can do with the timing.
So what kind of direction do we give them? Like, obviously, we all have some interest in maybe potentially using this light possibility. We have a budget to discuss. Is this something that anybody else is interested in even? Because I don't want to waste their time, is what I'm saying, if it's not.
I certainly don't want to waste that time either. We have talked about doing an intersection study of those. I think during a budget discussion, we do discuss possibly doing some improvements at this intersection, at both these intersections as part of our intersection study. So I think for me, that probably is the direction we can give to staff, but I'm open to any other suggestions.
And you did talk about making mistakes. I spoke with Dan and Chris about something else, and maybe everything we try doesn't work.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the only
Right.
people who have a perfect thing are people who don't do
Who don't
anything.
try anything, exactly.
Yeah, so we
Exactly.
do,
Tried it,
we have some things that maybe aren't perfect.
right, we tried it.
We just go back up to the plate.
Yeah.
And try again.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw this out there, and I'm a West Side girl, so please stop me if I'm wrong, but I mean, we need to acknowledge that we did have a public commenter today talk about potentially an area that needs a roundabout. I don't know that area at all. I don't live near there or drive it, but I know you do. Is this an area that we could consider a traffic light, or is that a no-go in that area?
I think that it would come down to the warrants again.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we still have to do a study there, right, Chris? I mean, we would still need to do a study and see if the warrants meant.
We would need a study, we'd need to meet the warrants and
Yep.
in order to make it function, it would be the same as Cedar Run and Harris. We would need to put in the turn lanes
Yep.
there.
Need to put in turn
The number one
Yeah,
severe accident that we've had at that intersection is actually people turning left from 3 Mile onto Potter and proceeding when there is northbound traffic and then just pulling right out in front of northbound traffic.
had there been a turn lane, could that, and it was like, would that not have made a difference on? Okay,
I couldn't say if they
So-
could have decided to proceed or not.
I mean, I don't, what I'm saying is if we have this possibility, I don't want to limit it maybe to these 3 roads if it's
it would be
possible.
wonderful.
I mean, I'll advocate for 3 Mile, but I do know that there'll be significant earth changes that have to be made at 3 Mile and Potter.
Okay,
to accommodate any change other than what's there.
Okay.
No matter what we do, 3 miles can be very pricey.
Your-
Due to the
I don't know the
issue.
area at all.
Your
Okay.
200,000 estimate, was that per intersection or?
Yes, well, just that was Gray Road. I was just talking, we only focused on Gray. Straight road would mean more. We talked about Moomers is another issue. Is that a private leg? Is that? I don't know what that one would look like for cost wise. So
And just get a touch, you know, mentioning the that intersection at Potter 3 Mile. There's a lot of, there's a water flow issue there as well. If you recall, we've had to dig that out multiple times in the past, so.
Yeah.
It would probably have to include fixing that more permanently, you know.
I mean, it's.
So do you want to instruct, so we can bring this to a.
Yeah, I think we need to.
Can we instruct the staff to, we've mentioned, we've spent a lot of time discussing the 3 intersections here. We need intersection studies on these 3 intersections built into next year's budget.
Yes. And then based upon those intersection studies, we can then. I mean, if we're talking about budget,
Well, included in the 5-year plan.
yeah, I think we can include, I would, if we're talking about budget discussions, wouldn't we want to include more than just intersection study and budget for like adding up lanes if that is what staff is?
Whatever. Once you start looking at the intersections, you'll know. We don't know till then.
Yeah, but if we don't budget for it, those extra work to put.
Well, I don't want to, I want a budget for the studies. I don't want a budget for the work this year.
Okay,
That was my proposal, to bring this to put some closure on this discussion. I would say budget for the studies for these 3 things we focused on, and more if we come up with it, but that's just some direction.
Gray Road, we already had the full RSA.
Yeah.
on, so
yeah,
I think we were.
They talked
proposing-
about the turn lanes
Yes,
there.
and if you want us to put a really solid number together for that intersection for 26.
yeah, I think we can do an intersection study for the other 2, Straight and Potter, and then have Cedar, because we've done a lot of work on Cedar Run and Gray. Have them budget for doing adding the turn lanes that we have already talked about at that intersection. Great. Okay, cool. All right, you don't need a motion on that.
Just want to make sure that
Yep.
we want us to grab time that quick.
Okay, sounds good. Moving on, item K, recruiting assistant services, that was, well, it's part of the 38, but go ahead. I've got 2 packets and I don't know which page it's on. One is on 38. Yeah,
82 on the one.
82 on the one. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
So we've had some communication with some hiring firms over the last little bit, looking for an engineer manager. And one of them did reach out to us. They said they had a potential candidate for us. But the way that works is they get a percentage of their salary, whatever you offer them for a salary. Which will be if for a full search. And this comes with like a 90-day guarantee, and they do the whole background and all that stuff. It's 23% of whatever you offer them for their wage. So it's a significant amount of money. It's probably going to be over my spending allowance. So I just want to talk to the board about that. Just because I have to sign an agreement saying that we'll pay that 23%. If we don't hire the person, we don't have to pay it. But if we do hire the person, then I'd have to allocate those funds. I just want to have that conversation.
So have you entertained any coaching efforts or anything? I'm just saying.
I don't think we should discuss that in open meeting. That might be the purpose of a coach.
While it sounds like a lot, when you think about it, like I've been involved in several of these searches in the last few years, and we traditionally pay $25,000 to $35,000 for those searches, and they come with some sort of guarantee. So I was just looking up the guarantees here. Traditionally there's a guarantee if, the person is gone and however many months, we'll give you a free search for the next person. Conveniently, somebody always leaves like 1 week after that is up or something, but I haven't looked at this. Is there some kind of guarantee in here, like?
Only
one
for
year?
one option, the more expensive one.
Okay, I couldn't, because I didn't put it together. I mean, I saw
Yeah.
the stuff about the criminal searches and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
no, and even the criminal search is optional. It's for an
The
additional.
23
Yes, that's why I
Yeah.
was like, what is that?
So if you, if the
When
only
we found you a
thing.
perfect guy, he's a registered felon.
Well, we can pay an extra fee for that, for the recruiting assistance, but if, which is 15%, for the full search is 25%, 23%. And that includes the guarantee, that includes the full background criminal search. The lesser fee, which is called the recruiting assistance, which is 15%. You can opt to add background and reference check, and I don't know what the fee is, they didn't specify.
Okay.
But there's no guarantee.
I want to know what the manager wants, and that's what I want to do. You want this, so you want to use the search firm, and then that's what we're gonna do, and
I'd like to see who their candidate is and see if it's a strong candidate. I don't think we would hire somebody if they weren't, so. We've been looking for somebody for 10 months. and
So they
Yeah.
represent somebody and came to you, or I get,
We've reached out to them. They represent some other road commissions in the area. So we reached out and just talked to them and just said, you know.
They're gonna poach you.
that's what I'm wondering. Okay, that's what I'm wondering.
Are we out, first of all, are we offering it out?
No,
I don't know, at this point, definitely for a civil engineer, it's crazy out there.
And secondly, I mean, we've looked at monster options. I mean, things like that. I mean, is that something?
We've exceeded everything we can do.
Yeah.
Like Indeed, Monster.
And these are people that are human resources people. They recommended this outfit.
Yes, yep.
You had a very good candidate that you and I talked about, but the salary demand would have made him the highest paid employee in Grand Traverse County Road Commission, I think.
and probably in most of Grand Traverse County.
Well, I don't know about everyone else, but I definitely at this agency.
Yeah.
Which.
But
would be
the question would be, is that person that out of line, or are we that off of the grid? Like, I don't know the answer. I don't know very much about
Well,
engineering.
there are dynamics in play.
And this person would have been someone who works for a road commission and would have had that unique expertise of that road commission engineering experience, but the salary demand was.
I wouldn't say that person's out of the running, but at the same time,
But no, I'm not saying.
another option popped
Right.
up that I think we should look at both.
And we can't do that because that option only comes through hiring solutions.
Right. I have no problem with the full search. Obviously, we need help trying to find this person.
Yeah.
When you do the math. 23%, you're gonna be in the same ballpark if you just hired.
Right.
Are you
After the last search I did.
I mean, if we do it, we go with the guarantee.
Yeah, that's what I would say, if
that's
we do
all.
it the right way and just
Yeah.
we'll get all the guarantees.
the other thing I think is Dan controls the budget of the engineering department. Based on our thing, and we used to have 4 civil engineers on the payroll. And now we have none, so if we have to get a good
Right.
quality candidate, great, but it doesn't matter what other people make right now.
Right.
We are a road commission that has a lot of work that does not have.
And we're paying more for our consultant.
Our
But
consultant
what I'm
expense.
saying is, are we giving them not the right tools? If we hire a search firm and it has a really low salary, are we just setting them up?
Maybe the search firm will come back and say, listen, you're not gonna get
You're gonna have
for
to
this, you'll have to go higher. Then Dan will have to come to us
Okay,
and say, this is what the results were from the search firm, and this is what they're recommending. In order for us to get a qualified pool of candidates, we'll have to up our salary.
So do you need a motion?
Yeah, we need.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we authorize the manager to do a full search through, what are they called again?
They're called hiring
Hiring Solutions
LLC.
LLC, at a cost of 23% of the salary once hired.
I'll support that motion. So motion by Commissioner Underwood, supported by myself, authorizing the road manager to retain the services of Hiring Solutions LLC Recruiting assistance services for a full search at 23%. Any further discussion?
I feel like the person needs a criminal search.
That's included in it.
That's
That's
the
part
one
of it.
that's in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it's a full search.
It just isn't a guarantee.
There is full search has everything.
Okay.
Okay. It has the guarantee, it has the criminal search, everything.
Do we need them to look for an HR person too?
No, we're still under contract till the end of the
Yeah,
year.
we are
Okay.
under contract. with
Okay,
them, so
I
there's
just thought,
storage
you
in
know,
there.
while we're there.
Any other questions? Let's do a roll call on this.
Horn.
Yep.
Lehman,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Gilman,
Show me the money.
Kavler.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Did you call my name?
Kavler.
Oh, yes, yes. I was like.
got sidetracked.
I was like, waiting for. I was like. He's just showing me the money. I'm like, is he loading? Oh, okay.
Time is up.
It's not, it's only 7:30.
I think it's all because we've all been at work since like, 7 o'clock.
Moving on to managers' comments.
Yeah, we'll put a few down here this time. First one I wanted to give an update on was that RSA on that Cedar Run corridor between Gray and Harris Road. All the signs for that are now in. Currently, we have our surveyor going out and marking the locations. And we have Mistake involved right now, trying to make sure that we're safely to put all these signs in. We're getting a plan together of how we're gonna execute this and move forward. So hopefully in the next few weeks, you'll see those signs going. So we're following through on that. Another updated, definitely wanted to give the board, had a court date here last week for Bluff Road. And I'm happy to say that it was dismissed by the judge. So the lawsuit of Bluff Road is settled.
Well, dismissed,
Dismissed.
not settled.
With or without,
The situation is.
with or without prejudice.
It would be, it would,
They can
the
appeal.
way it was dismissed, it would be with prejudice, but they can appeal.
They can, right,
The with prejudice doesn't have any impact on the appeal.
okay.
Other update is our annual safety meeting where we get everybody together. We're planning on having that Friday, November 7th. So again, hopefully some board members can show up and be involved in that. The other thing, we've signed up for the Traverse City Light Parade. That's Saturday, November 26th. We've never done the light parade before. So this will be our first year entering the light parade.
I've been here for like 20 some years, 25 years, and this was the first time that there's a light
I
parade.
love the light parade.
I had no idea there was.
I
a
never
Traverse City
liked
light parade.
I'm never here for
I don't work
but
in
I-
downtown.
No, it's super fun.
Yeah.
And are you gonna take a full on plow truck in it?
We are gonna take a plow truck. We're probably not gonna put a front plow on it because it's gonna be darker and
Yeah.
people running around. But
Well, you put lights
one
on.
of our trucks are gonna wrap all lights around.
That'll be fun.
We did discuss putting the front plow excited, maybe not at night.
It
Say
is
that
a really
before the-
fun event.
Well, the LED lights can get really bright with no power usage at all, so you could really.
Well,
Be a
I'm glad you
super,
guys
be a
are doing that.
supernova.
I think it's a really good idea.
Exactly, is it?
It's a light parade, Joe.
I mean.
What, they turn on the light?
Okay,
Yeah,
so they have a light
I'm a country
parade
bumpkin. baby.
before Santa comes,
Okay.
okay? So, and they do the downtown tree lighting, we're
Yeah,
the one
tree lighting.
city
I
in
remember
America
that.
that puts a tree in a manhole
Yeah, yeah.
in the middle of a road. Anyways, it starts at one end of downtown and goes to the other, and a whole bunch of different agencies are in it, and they have different floats, and just like regular people can be in it. Like Beta wraps a bus from head to toe all the way around in it, and they drive some of, like, my clients get to go in it, they drive people through. And then the schools are involved and the dance troops and the marching. It's kind of like the Cherry Festival parade, but it's at night
Mm.
and everybody's lit up and it's really fun.
And
And
it's
then it
cold.
ends and you turn on the tree and Santa comes.
All right.
So this is a good thing.
What did they
Tiger will be there.
I haven't been there in 25 years. I seriously doubt I'll be here this time.
Well, I'm glad
You
you're
know,
doing it. It's
but
really fun.
stranger things have happened.
It's really fun.
All right, we'll move on to commissioners' comments, questions and.
Was that Dan?
agenda
No, I
items.
got more on that.
Oh, you did?
Sorry.
Excited.
Oh, I didn't.
Dan's gonna play Santa.
Okay. Oh,
Wanted to give an update on Barney Road. So when we do a road like Barney Road, we tried everything we could do to work this project in, and it wasn't a full set of design plans, you know, we didn't try to keep this very cost effective. We're out there right now into the big curves they call the supers, and we're finding that we need to build those supers up more than we originally thought we were needing to do so. It's gonna come at an additional cost. I just kind of wanted to give the board an update. You know, we're looking at an additional $20,000 to $25,000 on that project. But the project's not done yet. You know, we do build in some other things for wedging and different things like that. So it might not be that full amount over. But I just wanted to prepare you that, you know, we could come back to you and say that, hey, this project might run $25,000 over. You might come back and say, hey, it all washed out. You might come back and say, you know, it was only $5,000 over. But just wanted to have that conversation. Again, if we would have done that road, a full bill that, you know, they've been saying needed for 20 years, it would have been $5.5 million. We found a way to do this project for $1 million. But so we're, you know, we're trying to do different things here. So we're learning as we're going on this project a little bit.
What's the timeline on that? We've had so much rain. Are things behind for you guys?
We are. I think we were supposed to be done by now. The rain has really put us behind. So hopefully that's.
And when that road project is completed and you open it back up, do the lights get removed then?
We are gonna remove the lights.
Yes.
As soon as.
So it is tied to Barney, not necessarily the pavement work at the roundabout. Like when Barney's done, the lights will go away, even if they aren't done at the roundabout?
Well, we could move that Harris right to, if that's, if at that time the roundabout shuts down. Because they did offer us that light, right?
Yes.
So if our project, our light at Cedar Run is tied to a Barney project. So that will come out, but if at some point the roundabout work requires M72 to close down. The light that's currently at Harris could be moved to Cedar Run if we wanted to.
Yeah, because they did announce that they weren't able to do what they thought they could do.
Yeah.
Because of the weather, so it sounds like that roundabout could still be having concrete work done for a bit, I think, and that required a full shutdown.
Yeah,
Of the
so
project.
that's why they offered us the light and we already had, and they offered it for Cedar Run and Gray, but since we already had our own light there.
They put it to Harris.
They put
Okay.
it to Harris. So, but once our light comes out, and if they decide to close it, then we can move that light there.
Because it looks like Barney is gonna be done before the roundabout. You don't know?
I'm not
Okay.
sure anymore. The
You are,
rain and the
okay,
project.
okay, that's fair, yeah. No, this
So-
weather's been really unusual, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a little tense. We're trying to force some projects in, get more things done, but we're running into that end of the season and. There's some sleepless nights trying to figure out how to make this all happen before we see snow.
I bet.
When is end of season? When is it down?
We haven't heard yet. I think it's gonna be a push to the end here. Hopefully we get a little break in the weather and we can wrap a few of these projects up. But kind of on that same line, and Chris probably helped me out a little bit. 3 Mile, we did close that out. We got some final numbers. Close, but I know originally, kind of like we just talked about Barney Road, we had to come back and do that armoring of that 75,000. Chris is saying that it looks like we're gonna be eating a lot of that up with the savings.
So a few items to finish agreeing to with the contractor there. They're busy trying to close out their season as well. And as soon as they free up, they're going to take a close look and make sure we're on the same page with the numbers that we've got that we post for payment. But as it sits right now, we are close to coming in right on budget.
I have a question on 3 Mile. You know, I'm assuming that the crosswalk and that light, that cart trail wanted to go in, if that's been installed. Have we gotten any feedback as to how that's working traffic wise? Because there was a lot of discussion we had about whether there was enough room between the traffic light and that for safety concerns.
All we did was put the pipe under the ground so they can run wires at a later date. No lights have been installed.
No, like, okay.
Yeah,
Do we have curb cuts there done for that? Did we?
I believe we did.
Or is it just because there's the driveway across the road and then they'll just use the,
There's the driveway across the road and no curb on the
Got
east
it.
side of the road,
All right.
and the exact location that they wanted to come across on the west side of the road, they may have to do the curb cut.
because I noticed the absence of anything.
Is it
infrastructure-wise.
painted like a crosswalk?
No,
I haven't been on the road yet.
That'll
it's
be
not.
part of the safe schools.
Safe
and all that.
route.
Yeah,
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
they're not there yet. But we set them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Do that. Last thing I have for tonight, MS4, that's ongoing. We did get back from that big push. There's 6 items they want us to address that they either wanted us to do a little something, some are pretty small, but, you know, Chris started, I think, taking care of one of them. Some rather large ones, we put some dates of like going around and finding the location of all of our culverts and all that stuff, you know, so we needed longer. They're trying to get that to a shorter date, so it might become more of a push. So I wanted to update everybody that, there were 6 issues they want to push harder than what we originally tried to submit. So it might be coming back at some point. I'm working with OHM to see if anything that they want done will fit underneath what we did originally. So there won't be any additional costs. And if there is anything, what they think that would cost to get these last couple things done. But again, this is just gonna be an ongoing thing here for several years. That's all I had for updates tonight.
Okay, any questions for Dan before we move on to our next item?
I just have a question, and it might be I forgot it and you said it, so I apologize. The light at the high school.
Yep.
So I know that the parts were on order and the parts have come in. Is that the new to be able to make a turn signal or no?
My understanding is that, they're hoping to start work on that next week.
Okay, and how long is the duration of the work that would be done? Like, is this like a 1-week project or?
I believe it can get up to a couple months. Chris might have a little better timeline.
The contractor intends to start next week. We'll be out there on site, beginning with the underground work. They'll get some stuff done. They'll have to wait a little while for foundations to firm up, and then they'll be able to stand that poles for the new signal. We'll have some flat work with some of the sidewalks for the ADA ramp that crosses right there on the east side of the intersection. The entire project at this point in time is anticipated to be completed by the beginning of December.
Oh, okay. I mean, obviously, if there's underground work, there's an issue, right? With weather and all of that.
The underground is primarily the foundations, and you can pour the concrete and it can be below freezing. It's got enough.
It's actually
that's
better
deep enough that it'll do
if
fine
it's
there.
cold.
So what is
So-
the how is it handled with all the kids coming in and out of school and the buses with this kind of work? Does it require shutting down the intersection in order to do this type of work?
No, they'll be working primarily from the shoulders of the road there, to do the installation of the underground work. There will be some single lane closures on each corner as they progress around the corners, just to make sure there's enough room to work and we're keeping people out of where they need to
But all
work.
things considered at that school, it won't matter.
And then once we get to actually standing it up and stringing things across the road, that's not a closure, that's stopping
Right.
traffic for an extra 1 minute while they drag something across the road
Okay.
and hangs things out. So,
Okay, so hopefully there's an end to this by the beginning of or December.
beginning of December is their anticipated completion date.
Okay,
Yep, it should move
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
that one's a frequently asked question, so I just like to have good info to give people.
Okay, moving on to commissioners' comments, Commissioner Lee.
2 things. Just to recognize Mr. Herman, R.C. Herman, who spoke to us, the developer of that subdivision on the corner and came for the crosswalk and said he passed away.
Oh.
And I thought he was pretty good with us, I asked him some tough questions and he was good.
Which one was
The one where the crosswalks.
Where the one with the crosswalk, what's the name of that?
Wood Creek, isn't it?
Wood Creek.
Wood Creek.
And all of
Really
them,
nice.
I think his son's got the project or whatever, but he was here with him that night.
Yeah,
And also the other one that's on Hammond Road now that they're doing,
yeah, huge.
Alta Vista, that, was huge, anyway. Okay. So I wanted to recognize, I thought he dealt with us quite nicely. And then I was gonna ask about the progress on the 5-year plan.
Wade Trim has just in the beginning stages of getting going on that. So we have to start setting some meeting dates with them to give them some more of our expectations.
So, thank you.
But Commissioner Goodland?
I wasn't gonna have anything really, other than, I wanna at least give a shout out to, our interim, engineering manager. Chris, I appreciate you being here and taking on what you've been taking on as much as you can. You've helped a lot. And so just want to throw that out there.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Underwood.
I just have one thing, obviously Biker's exciting. Beta has hit me up again on creating new stops. I've kind of discussed with them. Some of the things that we would require, but I'm gonna ask Dan and some of your crew to sit down with us and them and see what we can come up with, including they might have to purchase land to do a pull off.
Sure, we
And I
have,
was very honest with them.
yeah,
You gotta get the bus off the road to create stops.
we have had a few sit downs. We did okay a few additional stops. I know they're big ones. They would like to do a South Airport and Garfield on an hourly basis. We told them we have major concerns with the speed through there and stopping a bus. We already have backups on South Airport and Garfield. So stopping a bus on an hourly, we think would really be hazardous. We would like to see them have a pull off.
Yeah.
But then we'd be happy to give them, right away and easement and stuff like that, but we think they should probably incur the cost of making that pull off for the bus.
Yeah.
So.
And I communicated the exact same thing. We could probably help with design, but you're gonna have to pay for it. Basically, is what I told them. So hopefully that's not too far out around what reality seems about, right?
Commissioner Corn.
I just wanted to touch real quick on the young lady that's been here 2 meetings in a row. I see her reaching out on social media to a lot of people, and this is a really important topic to her, and I think it might not be our wheelhouse. But she seems to be really engaged in wanting help and wanting assistance, and I don't know enough about it. I don't know what could help her, but if she's 16 feet from the edge of the road, I understand. I mean, I grew up on East Bay on 31, trust me. I know what it's like to have trucks going by, all the time. And I don't know how we can help her or if we can at all. I think she did and tried hard to do some research and look into things like restrictions and maybe it isn't accurate that there aren't those restrictions there. And I don't know if that's even an option or something that would be helpful, but what can we do to help her? Because she's really, really trying. Like I see her engaging people all the time, trying to get information and it's her home. I get that. That's her investment. That's her home. So I think that is a terrible road area because, everybody drives 55 or let's face it, 65. And then when you get to Blair Town Hall and that little residential area, which I'm assuming she lives in there, it's supposed to go down to 35. Nobody goes 35 there. Everybody continues, 55. I don't know that that's our wheelhouse at all, but I just feel like she needs some help and she's trying so hard to engage appropriately and always kindly. And of course, we can't respond to people in public comment, so I don't want her to feel like nobody cares because I think we all care.
We talked about it during and under item EF.
But we talked about that we can't help with speeds and that there isn't these weight
There's
restrictions.
restrictions, but so that we haven't talked about whether we want to consider putting a rate restriction on there because it's 6:33. I don't
We
know how.
couldn't on a road
we
like
really
that,
No,
right?
how can we?
But I just was
restrict-
wondering if any of you that know a lot more about this than I do can think of something that's like, oh yeah, they should do this. Like I literally don't know, or I would reach out to her and
That's
help her
why, I
myself.
think that's why I limited my comments to if that seems like speed is a factor that can be addressed, so, but that would be law enforcement. But we can't put 6:33 weight restricted.
Do you apply through Blair Township? Is that it to have the MSP look at you talk to Nicole or
Well, I think she can call Nicole, she can call the sheriff's department, yeah, but I would say to talk to the township supervisor because I would think Nicole would be the one that would probably be able to get someone to put up the full car there for a couple of days and write out tickets to these speeding semis,
And that's if they have a flashing sign. I mean, they
No,
have a
no.
sign that pops up.
Unfortunately, we can't do anything that is within our jurisdiction. We can't weight restrict that road.
And her home isn't in our right of way, right? I mean,
Sounds like it's just nonsense.
because it's 33 feet. I mean, I was just curious by that number she gave, but that's not a survey. No, I
Yeah, she
understand.
measured it and
Yeah.
and that's unusual too, for a house to be 16 feet from the road.
They're so close there,
So there must be before, and I don't know if Blair Township has zoning or not,
yeah.
but usually the front setbacks are much bigger than.
Yeah.
That was
Predate all
placed
of it.
long.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And
That's
as far as
probably,
our road's probably right to the edge anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that guy that's making the development there
Yeah.
that came and talked to us,
Yeah.
he had discussed how the old road used to go in a certain area and how they had moved it. So anyways, I just
I remember
thought
they built
if there's something we could do to help her because, and I don't know, and Dan brought up a really interesting point too at East Bay, like these roads are engineered and meant for 55 miles an hour. And if they do the traffic study and everybody is going 55 through the whole thing, they'll up the speed limit to 55 on the whole road, even though you wanted it to be lowered. And everybody does go 55 through there. So
Well, yeah, I think you probably don't want to do a.
that's why I'm saying I don't want to say to her, oh.
Yeah,
go
no,
do a
that's
speed
why,
study
that's
and
why I
then-
recommended
Yeah.
to her that she should contact law enforcement.
Okay,
All right.
well, I'll see if I can reach out to her.
Those of us that don't drive 55 get lots of waves.
The traffic counts that we have been doing, have those been done that you signed the contract for?
Yep, traffic
Okay.
counts are completed. Right now, we're trying to put it into a format in a map so we can go to the roads and put down. Right now, it's just a huge data file that's too much to.
What's the plan? What's the plan? How do you intend to use the data from the traffic counts?
One of the big things that we're probably gonna take a look at is where traffic's going, and we might have roads that are. Like local roads that should be a primary road, and primary roads that, we might reverse a few roads in there. But then it's gonna help a lot with that 5-year plan of what roads to look at and where to direct things, and
Okay.
it's so that's one of the reasons we're just now getting going on the 5-year plan is because we were waiting for that car count.
Okay. All right, thank you. The next item is public comment. Does anyone want to make a public comment? Please state your name. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Rick Venner. I'm the Cherry Capital Cycling Club Vice President. I'm also a member of the Grand Traverse Safe Streets Alliance. I saw on the agenda the Frankie Road, which caught my attention, and also Bluff Road. I spoke here a couple of years ago when we weren't sure what was going to happen with Bluff Road for cycling. I'm glad to see that still stay open for thoroughfare there. It's a beautiful road to bike on. But today I want to talk about Frankie. The Safe Streets to School, TCAPS, reached out to our club and our alliance and asked us to help with the audit for the safe streets. And I was one of the members that volunteered. So I stood out there for the busy times for 3 days and watched what was going on. And primarily I was at the Montessori, not at the middle school, which was the focus of the safe streets. I would agree that they really put Montessori in a bad place. I don't know whose idea that was. It should have never happened. The fact is, we're here. Now we got to look forward. The crosswalk, and I watch people walk across. There's a whole thing. You could talk about it forever. I think somebody said that the parking lot is about half the capacity it should be, and they're absolutely right. It's a zoo going in there, and then it just dumps out under Frankie. But what I can suggest is an observation that would be within, I think, your wheelhouse is a way to try to slow traffic down, because there's a lot of cut through traffic there. It's not just the conflict and with shopping and Great Wolf Lodge and the buses and all that. It's just people that turn there. They turn right off of Silver Lake Road and they cut over to
I do.
31, and the turn on Silver Lake Road, there's not a turn lane there, and there's a red light. There's not a green arrow. But at the shoulder of that little piece of the road is kind of treated like a turning lane. So people zoom in and they turn right. They don't stop at the red. And they really just fly down that road. So, and the reason that's important, the school's down the road, but like my daughter, she likes to bicycle her kids to school. And that's the only crosswalk getting over to where I live, which, by the way, I'm a resident of Traverse City in Slabtown. So you've got to go across Silver Lake Road. Well, right on reds are real dangerous for anybody crossing roads. And so that when you look at this, I saw $100,000 plus difference between one that had more safety. I don't know if it's the crosswalk or not. I don't have an opinion on that. I think it is a little, I actually do have an opinion. Going from Myers over to the Montessori with all that traffic is really hairy to look at. So I don't know what a crosswalk would necessarily do, but in that $100,000, if there was a bump out at Silver Lake or some other safety aspect to it, I would like you to keep in mind that would be a really important thing to look at. That's really all I had to say.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Just Mr. Gorney.
I just wanted to say I appreciate you guys for, discussing what I brought in today and my offer about helping out any way I can there. I really want to follow through on this, and I appreciate you doing a study and following through on that end. But if there's anything I can do, please don't hesitate to stop by or let me know. I'm not really involved that much with this kind of stuff, but, you know, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Scott. Thanks.
Thanks.
Just last comment, Richard Robbins from the Grand Traverse State Streets Alliance. I've left a couple of cards, one for each of you on our website. And also there's an email for info@grandtraversestateStreets.org. If you have questions or you want to contact us. The website, I really encourage you to take a look at it. We put together some as is and what we call the art of the possible for a lot of intersections. So a great intersection that, you know, is really dangerous for pedestrians and motorists alike is Garfield and Hannah. You know, a huge issue with Tart Trail there and all the issues there. And so what we've done is we have an as is and an art of possible. And I want you to recognize that we're not being prescriptive. We're saying these are things that potentially could help. Now, we've had a professional engineer in traffic engineering be able to help us with those as opinions that has national expertise. But it's not like the only thing you might be able to do. But what we're looking to do is just start public discussion around some of these really challenging areas in our infrastructure where we can start to work together collaboratively. And our job is to bring those organizations together and have better communication between TCAPS and the Road Commission and the City of Traverse City and Garfield Township. And because ultimately those types of infrastructure, the infrastructure we're envisioning is countywide. And so I really appreciate your time today and wanted to encourage you to just look at us we're not an adversarial. What we want to do is bring all of us to work better together for better solutions. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robbins. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I'll support it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Aye.